Hey everybody, I wanted to do a brief tutorial. There was someone who asked a question, and it's a great and important question, and there were a lot of things within it that could be used for teaching on accuracy of the cards, that I thought this would be helpful, and they were so kind to let me use this as a teaching tool. So thank you for that. And the question that they had for the cards is, would it be beneficial, it's worded, would it be beneficial if my brother changed his lawyer? So it's a big question. It's an important one. The cards they received are fox, woman, and coffin. So when they were asked what they saw in the cards, they said they saw the fox as coming to an end, and fox being the lawyer, then meaning that the person that the brother is with. So first of all, first and foremost, always go back to the question. So would it be beneficial is the first three words of it. Would it be beneficial? This is a yes or no question. And so if we were to ask that, let's take a look at what's the most important thing about when you read Lenormand. So remember first the question, would it be beneficial? And we're not really talking about what's happening with where they are. We're just looking for yes, no on the benefit. Would it be or would it not be? So when we see these cards, when you learn Lenormand, it's really important, and I really don't think this is discussed enough. Positive, negative, and neutrals are so important, not only in yes, no questions, but in so many. They give so many wonderful nuances. So with fox, we have a negative card. With coffin, we have a negative card. The person cards are neutral, so there is no value to this, positive, negative, or neutral. So we've got two negative cards here. The fox means wrong. The coffin is a hard stop. So when you ask, is this beneficial? We have a no, and we have a no and a neutral. So right away, I see a no here. No, it would not be beneficial. Now let's go a little bit deeper. First of all, when I see a person card, and the person we're asking about, so she's asking a question about her brother. This is just a tip I've learned through the years. If I see a person card, and I know this doesn't represent the brother, it would have if it were a man card, but I'm like, a brother isn't a man, so it's somebody else. So this is another person. So it could represent the other attorney here. So because we're asking about changing the lawyer. It also could be the lawyer that he's asking about. It doesn't really matter. We've got a neutral card here, but I just know that this doesn't represent the brother. Just keep in mind when you see a person card and it is not the same gender as the person you're asking about, it represents another person. So now let's talk a little bit more about the way the question was asked, because I think this is really important and this can cause so much confusion. So the question is about asking if it's beneficial for my brother to change his lawyer. So that means end the relationship with the attorney that they have. And this is why I think this particular question caused some confusion. So whenever you're asking about an ending, so if it's a divorce, an end of a job, if you are asking about ending a relationship, if you're asking about ending this relationship, anything that suggests is going to be a change or a departure or an ending, you need to be really careful. If it's leaning toward a negative question like that, anytime you see positive cards, of course they should mean a yes. Anytime you see a negative card, it should mean a no. So when you ask a positive card, let's do it this way. If we ask a negative one, like, should he leave his attorney? Let's suppose it was asked that way. It wasn't, but let's suppose it was asked that way. If you get this coffin card, this is a no card, but that also means stop or end. So that means yes, you should leave. So it's both a no and a yes. So it's super confusing. So any negative cards are going to come up and you're going to be really confused by it. So when you're shuffling the cards, always in your head think like, what would positive, negative cards be? And if you think as you're shuffling that might be confusing, change the question. You want the same kind of concept of answer, but you want to understand the cards. So this is not to change what you're saying for any other reason than to understand the language of the cards. So what you could ask is, instead of, should I leave this relationship? Should I leave this job? You just change it to, should I stay in this relationship? Should I stay in this job? And then if you get the anchor, you stay. If you get the sun, you stay. If you get whatever, you can see. Or if you get negative cards, you're going to see what the conflicts and issues are, and you can read those cards. So it just makes it more clear. So where this question was, would it be beneficial to change? Even though the first part of it is, would it be beneficial, is positive. The change part of it can, for many people, make it hard to understand these negative cards, because the no cards may also mean yes. Okay, so that may help you form better questions. It's really all about clear questions. And sometimes for me, that's the hardest part. If someone asks a question, I have to think, how can I ask this so that I would know what the cards mean? All right, now on top of that, here's another way you can clarify. If you want to know why, why would they benefit from leaving this attorney, then you just can put more cards down. This is why I like to do more than just 3 cards. So I would put down, say, 3 cards underneath. Now these are not read on their own. They're more like houses and a grand tableau. So they kind of color the cards that they land under. Or that would be, here's the cards we received. So we have scythe, ship, and book. This is also a great learning opportunity. So right away, we're looking at positive, negative, neutral. So we've got negative. This is neutral, but I'm going to keep my finger on it for just a moment, and this is neutral. So negative, neutral, neutral. Now, going back to ship for a minute. If you're ever asking about, well, should we go on the cruise, or would we like this cruise, or whatever, that would lean this more toward a positive. So this is a neutral that can lean toward positive in questions like if you're moving, should you do business with them? This is a commerce card. So would the travel be beneficial? This is also something that could lean toward that, but if it landed as the last card. But also take a close look at the cards around it and how this is colored by them, because this starts out as neutral. All right, so here we go. So if we were to read these cards for more, and I'm looking in more depth information, these cards say to me, remember, is it beneficial? It's wrong to cut or eliminate. So that's already giving us a piece of information. The person that we're asking about is actually moving or going along. So I get this as either the brother, there is already movement, he's already started doing this process, or it could be the other attorney is, busy doing something else, or it's just more business. So again, neutral card, but you can take it however you see it in the reading. And then the coffin comes up with book. Now remember, this is a neutral card. I always get a little iffy if something ends in a neutral, because I feel like it leaves me hanging and I want a positive or a negative to really define it. But this has to do with something that's already in the books. The person has already learned what they needed to know. First and last cards are really important about not knowing secrets or the attorney's education. Let's pull in pause. Oh, look, we got the negative. This is a lot of negatives in this. So we've got the broom and whip. So with this combination, I get that it would be wrong. It would be just a lot of repetition of the same thing. They've got the knowledge. They know what they know. So I definitely, in this spread, this is all saying no, it wouldn't be beneficial. It would just be repetition. There's already things in motion. So to cut the person would not be in their best interest. So I hope this makes sense. And pay attention to all these things. Remember, write the question. Make sure that the question reflects positive cards being a yes, negative cards being a no. Pay really close attention to positive, negative, neutral. I could say that 1,000 times. Person card that doesn't match the gender can be another person. And always, when you're done, look back at the question again. I hope that helps. Thanks again for letting me use this as a teaching tool.